All right, for what we have in section 2.3 from your packet, and we have with this worksheet, we have a mix of division problems, line division as well as synthetic division. And starting right off, okay, so we have for problem number 1, we have 6x cubed plus 8x squared plus 20x plus 8 divided by 3x plus 1, and we're looking for the quotient and the remainder and getting right to it. Okay, so we have 3x plus 1 is the divisor, and for what we have with our 4-term polynomial, this will be the dividend. And looking at establishing what we have in the quotient, okay, so we have both the divisor and the dividend are in descending degree order. And for the first term of the quotient, we'll take the first term from the divisor into that of the dividend. So you have 3x into 6x cubed is going to be 2x squared. And for what we have upon multiplying, you have 2x squared times 3x will become 6x cubed. 2x squared times 1, we have it 2x squared. And we have with line division, we're looking at row by row subtracting. And the object is going to be to cancel out the leading terms that will start from the dividend and that will spin off at each stage afterwards. So we have 6x cubed minus 6x cubed goes out. And we have 2x squared taken from 8x squared leaves us with 6x squared. Breaking down the remaining terms, so we have plus 20x plus 8. So with 6x cubed out of the picture, we had the leading term at 6x squared. And taking 3x into 6x squared, this will become 2x. And we have with distributing 2x over 3x plus 1, we have 6x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. And in looking at deducting, so we have 20x minus 2x becomes 18x. Bring down the 8. And we have 3x into 18x is going to be 6. And distributing over 3x plus 1. So we have 18x plus 6. And we have with subtracting, 18x goes out, and we have 8 minus 6 is 2. Now I cannot take 3x directly into 2, and so for what we have left over, we have with the quotient, this is going to be at 2x squared plus 2x plus 6. And for what we have left over, that will be the remainder. For what we have in the case, problem number 2, it says use synthetic division to solve this following problem. And now I'm going to take what I have and put in terms of line division just to give you a visual. Now we do have with the worksheet, you already had the visual synthetic division set up, but just some things to mention. Now we have x minus 2, the divisor, into this third order polynomial dividend. And I just want to mention that we have in the dividend, we have negative 11x cubed and 19x squared. However, we have a missing x term, a first order, so I had to use 0 for placeholder purposes. And we have followed by plus 12. Now, to translate what I have along the lines of synthetic division, representing x minus 2 will be the 0 of x minus 2. So if I set x minus 2 to 0, x is equal to 2. And putting what we have in terms of synthetic division. Okay, so we have 2, the 0, and taking the coefficients of the dividend. So I have negative 11, 19, And again, we have a missing first degree term in x, so I have to use 0. So I want everything in the polynomial from the highest degree term all the way down to the constant to be represented. And if a term is missing in any degree, I had to put in 0. Now, where we have long division to involve row by row subtraction, we're going to have with synthetic division, this will be column addition. Now we have the leading coefficient from the dividend is negative 11, and any leading coefficient I'm going to bring down. And we have initiating, we have 2 times negative 11 is negative 22, and 19 plus negative 22 will be negative 3. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. 0 plus negative 6 is negative 6. 2 times negative 6 is going to be negative 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. And now, for what we have in terms of the quotient and the remainder. Okay, so we have 0 remainder. And for the quotient, all right, the negative 11 at the top was in reference to minus 11x cubed. And after each round of synthetic division, okay, we're going to have the degree to be less by 1. Okay, and so this negative 11 at the front will be negative 11x squared. And we have minus 3 will be in reference to negative 3x, and we have minus 6. And now in terms of what we have to fill in, so we have the boxes filled in. So we have negative 11, negative 22, negative 3, negative 6, negative 6, negative 12, and 0. Now for the boxes at the bottom, what would happen in this particular case is that you have the quotient plus the remainder. So you would have for this particular display, you have negative 11x squared minus 3x minus 6, and you have plus 0 over x minus 2. Okay. Now we're looking at forming a polynomial, okay, from the following zeros, okay, and it says to leave the answer in factored form, but I'm going to show both versions here. Okay. Now we have with our zeros, we have 3, 4, 0, and 9. Now for the factored form, okay, we have with our function f of x, it could be y, it could be g of x. Now we have with x is equal to 3. We have x minus 3. And we say that x equals 4 is going to be 0 of x minus 4. X equals 0, we have to be the 0 of x. And with x equal to negative 9, we have x plus 9. Okay, so this would be one way upon which we can express the factored form. So for this specific problem, this would be the final answer. But I just want to mention, if you were to provide an expanded form, say if you were to multiply the first two terms, or first two sets of terms, now we have for f of x, okay, so we would have x squared, negative 4x minus 3x is negative 7x. Negative 3 times negative 4 is going to be a positive 12. And let's say that if I were to form the next set of terms, multiplying x and x plus 9, so I'm going to have x squared plus 9x. And if I were to provide, let's say, the expanded form of this, so just lining up, again, we have x squared minus 7x plus 12. Now we have x squared plus 9x. Okay, so just looking at what we have in sectioning off. All right, so we have with x squared times x squared, this is x to the fourth. 9x times 9x squared is 9x cubed. We have negative 7x times x squared is negative 7x cubed. Negative 7x times 9x, this would be a negative 63x squared. And we have plus 12x squared. And 12 times 9x, okay, so this would be 108x. So just in expanded form, we have one result will be f of x is equal to x to the fourth. Then we have in the cubes have with the coefficients 9 and negative 7, so you have the difference at 2x cubed. And we have in second degree, so you have negative 63 plus 12, so this will be a negative 51x squared. And we have followed by 108x.